Tēnā tātou katoa, ko Hekurangi te maunga, ko Waiapu te awa, ko Ngāti Porou te iwi. Ki te taho o tōku tupuna kuia, no te whānau apanui me whakatōhia. Ko Agnes hau, tēnā tātou katoa.
So Agnes, we're just going to get to know you a little bit better.
Yep.
So we're going to ask you a couple of quick fire questions. First one is, what type of food do you like?
Thai.
If you could write a book about anything, what would you write that book about?
Ngāti Porou.
The last thing you binge watched?
Oh, what did I last binge watch? Some stupid thing called Manifest.
Favourite genre of music?
Rock and roll.
Summer or winter?
Both. And it's all about moods. So they all have something to offer.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, not as far as I can recall.
Football or rugby?
Oh, rugby, definitely. You can't be a Ngāti and not support rugby.
What one word would you use to describe yourself?
What one word? Courageous.
Tell me why you're running for council.
I'm running for council because I've always believed in participating and contributing towards your life, where you live, learn, work and play, and actually that it's always around the legal constructs that make a difference to our world. So given that the Māori wards have been introduced and I supported the establishment of Māori wards, I thought it was really important that I follow through and make myself available.
What do you think are some characteristics of a good council?
Well, I think I just think, like I say, the introduction of the Māori wards is a real great start from where I sit, because when you look at our percentage of Māori within this district, and it's not been easy for Māori to get to a table like a council, and then when you get there, you can be really isolated. So changing things like that makes it so much easier. To guarantee 5 Māori sitting at a table, you're actually not going to be so isolated, you're not going to be marginalised in your opinion. And I think also respect and courage and working together.
What is the one issue that is most important to you personally?
That everyone gets to be able to participate in the decision making of our world, and sometimes that's not always easy in big institutions. So I suppose how do we make sure that we can bring all the different parts of our communities to these types of tables?
Who are at-risk whānau in the community, and what can be done to help them?
Oh, I actually think Māori per se are at risk, whether we like it or not. I mean, all the demographics tell us that we are, although I wouldn't agree with that, because I think we're the most vibrant and highly, we're out there.com, but essentially we are at risk. And then you look at the areas geographically with all the erosion and all of the flooding and everything that happens, the sea's looking a little bit closer into the hills than it did a few years back. So, essentially our region, we've got so many pockets of so many communities, from Matakawa right through to the west in terms of being geographically challenged, so that puts us all at risk. But I would say Māori are definitely at risk, and that's definitely why, I make no bones about the fact about why I want to participate in the Māori ward. So I'm very, very pro around advancing ourselves, and but in order to do that, you also need mates. Like I said, good relationships. Just because we get 5 Māori onto the council doesn't automatically assume we've got mana motuhake up large, and we get a few Māori in the general seat. The obligation for us as Māori, as tangata whenua of this whenua, is not only to look after ourselves, but it's to look after all of the people that reside within Tairāwhiti.
Talking about the whenua, what do you think the council can do to help limit or change, help with climate change?
Well, I think it's probably about listening more to the people that are directly affected by it. And what are the regulations that they have that can actually make it easier for people to to get through these things, how you do that. Not arrive in small communities and put a red sticker on some whānau's home with such a sense of that's what our regulation says we've got to do. Seeing how we can actually create regulations that are far more user-friendly and it lessens the burden on the whānau that are impacted.
When you drive around Gisborne, there's plenty of vape stores.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that at the end of the day, councils make rules around the law. So people have to get engaged not only at a local government level but also at the central government level. And unfortunately, when you have regulations that allow a whole number of these places to arrive, it was no different in the days of bottle stores and, so it's not blaming the people who set up the businesses. If the regulations within our community allow for that, that is not their fault. So attack the regulations, attack the central government, Don't just say, oh, well, we shouldn't put up more stores. Create regulations that don't allow that. Have the courage and the conviction to use the law to make it better for ourselves rather than sort of knock at each other and say, well, all you business people running vape stores, you shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't have a choice. There should be a much more informed way about going around. If the job of the council is to look after our community, we should be fighting to change the regulations that allow us to look after our community.